Do you remember when TV was fun? When there was such a thing as local channels and they played music videos and stuff? Well, if you miss those days, then you probably remember Citytv. That was a Toronto icon. You're remembering it, right? Back in the day, everything was buzzing at 299 Queen Street West, where Citytv shared space with Muck Music and other chum properties. It was a hub of creativity, with street-level studios, live shows, and that unforgettable People City vibe. So here's what happened since you left in 19... Rogers Communications acquired Citytv after a media shakeup involving Chum and Bell Media. In 2009, Citytv moved out of 299 Queen Street West and relocated to 33 Dundas Street East, near John's Dundas Square. That building became home to both Citytv and Omni Television, and they continued broadcasting from there for 16 years. Then, in 2025, Citytv moved again, this time to the Rogers Building at 333 Bloor Street East, joining other Rogers-owned media like Sportsnet and CHFI. So while the address has changed, Citytv is still around, just not in that legendary Queen Street building anymore. That space is now part of Bell Media Studios, home to shows like The Social and E! Before we move on, remember to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode. Also, give us a thumbs up if you're already enjoying our trip down memory lane. Memorable shows: City Pulse, the flagship news program, known for its raw, street-level reporting and diverse cast of reporters. Breakfast Television, a morning staple hosted by the likes of Ann Romer and Deanie Petty, blending news, lifestyle, and live interviews. Electric Circus, a legendary dance show filmed live with a street-facing studio where people could literally dance on TV. Speaker's Corner, a public video booth where anyone could record a message, rant, or performance. It was like YouTube before YouTube. Fashion Television, hosted by Jean Becker, it brought global fashion to Canadian screens. Citaline, a daytime talk show that covered everything from home decor to health. Hosted by Marilyn Dennison, later Tracy Moore. Unforgettable personalities: Mark Daly, everywhere, and a respected crime reporter. Gord Martino, the face of City Pulse for decades, known for his calm authority. Jojo Chinta, one of the first black reporters in Toronto, covering crime and community stories with grit. Peter Silverman, famous for his Silverman Helps consumer advocacy segments. Harold Hossein, the beloved weatherman who made forecasts feel like a warm hug. David Onley, tech and science reporter who later became Lieutenant Governor of Ontario. Citytv in the 90s was more than just a station, it was a cultural force. Want to dive into clips or specific shows from that era? I can help you track some down. You know, I spent a good part of my career in Toronto, and I have to say Citytv was a big part of the local culture. Their success wasn't really about failure or a lack of vision from Moses Z. In fact, it was more about corporate consolidation and regulatory limits than anything else. Here's the story in a nutshell. The chain of events in 2006. Chum Limited was sold to CTV Globe Media for $1.7 billion. But the CRTC, Canada's broadcast regulator, stepped in. CTV already owns stations in the same major markets as Citytv, and Canadian rules don't allow one company to own two English-language stations in the same city. So in 2007, CTV was forced to sell the Citytv stations, and Rogers swooped in with a strong $375 million cash offer. What about Moses? Moses Zenmer had already left Chum by then. He stepped away in the early 2000s, after creative differences with Chuma's board. So by the time of the sale, he wasn't in control of Citytv anymore. It wasn't about him failing to adapt. In fact, he was always ahead of the curve. He pioneered interactive TV, street-level broadcasting, and even user-generated content long before YouTube existed. Why Rogers? Rogers saw a golden opportunity. Buy-in Citytv gave them a national network of urban stations, a strong brand with loyal audiences, a way to compete with Bell and Global and conventional TV. So it wasn't that Citytv was struggling, it was that media giants were playing chess, and Citytv was a valuable piece on the board. Where are they now? After stepping down from Citytv in 2000, Moses Zenmer didn't fade into the background. He launched Zoomer Media, a media company focused on Canadians aged 45 and up, or as he calls them, Zoomer. Here's what he has been up to. Zoomer built Zoomer Media into a multi-platform powerhouse radio. He acquired and rebranded stations like AM 740 and Classical 96.3, both catering to mature audiences. Television. He took over Vision 4, One, Body, Mind, and Spirit, and Joy, offering programming that blends spirituality, wellness, and lifestyle. Print and digital. He launched Zoomer Magazine, a glossy lifestyle publication, and expanded into digital platforms and events. Advocacy. He became president of CARP, Canada's largest advocacy group for aging Canadians. The Zoomerplex. He also created the Zoomerplex, a 2.6-acre media and event complex in Toronto's Liberty Village. It houses TV and radio studios, Zoomer Hall for live events, the MZTV Museum of Television, showcasing his collection of vintage TVs, including one from the 1939 World S. Farron, sets owned by Elvis and Marilyn Monroe. Still a visionary, has continued to push boundaries. Founded IDSID, a TED-style conference of brilliant minds, became an early supporter of Singularity University alongside NASA and Google, advocated for aging with dignity, including controversial topics like assisted dying. So yeah, Moses didn't just transition to digital. He defined what aging in the digital age could look like. Moses Esnheimer did grow up in Montreal after his family immigrated to Canada in 1948. His early education was in the United Talmud Torah and Herzliya High School, part of Montreal's Jewish private school system. Even back then, he stood out, not just for his intellect, but for his voice, which made him a bit of a Friday service celebrity among classmates. He went on to earn a Bachelor of Arts in Philosophy and Politics from McGill University, where he also served as president of the McGill Debate and Union. That's also where he met his lifelong partner, actress Marilyn Monroe. Then he headed to the U.S. and earned a master's degree in government from Harvard University in the mid-1960s. So yeah, classic Montreal roots, but with a global academic polish. Moses Esnheimer's early career at the CBC was where he first began to shape his revolutionary ideas about media, though the environment there eventually proved too rigid for his vision. In 1969, he left the CBC, determined to build a new kind of television from the ground up. And that's exactly what he did. Citytv, in 1972, a station that would break all the rules he felt were holding TV back. The UHF Gambit, how Citytv was born in the early 1970s. All the VHF television licenses in Toronto were already taken. Those were the prime channels with the best reach. But Moses wasn't deterred. He and a group of partners applied for a UHF license, which was considered second-rate at the time. Most people didn't even have TVs that could easily tune into UHF channels without